Having the brightest part of your chart in the most hidden of houses is a little bit difficult. You can sometimes feel like people don't really get to see the things that you are really proud of in yourself. It's like those things that you wish that you could show the world don't really get to shine because it's kind of like your ascendant takes over. If you have a sun in the 12th house, then this video is just for you. Hey guys, my name's Denise and I'm your friendly local astrologer, and I like to make videos to help people incorporate astrology into their everyday life. I like to make either informative videos to help you understand your chart better, or maybe sometimes I give useful tips on how you can incorporate astrology and make it actually useful. And I invite you to subscribe to my channel if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. I put out videos multiple times a week, so yeah, hit that subscribe button. So in today's video, we're actually talking about the 12th house. And I've already made a video about the 12th house. If you haven't seen that, then I'll put it in the description. But in today's video specifically, it's about the 12th house sun and what that means. And this is a placement that I really feel involves a lot of work on self-esteem. So we're going to talk about why I think that working on your self-esteem is so important when you have the sun in the 12th house. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So how does it feel? Like I said in the introduction, it feels like your ascendant takes over. And sometimes people don't even realize that you're actually like a super sweet Cancer. People might just see, you know, the fierce Leo part of yourself, and they can think that you're extremely confident and that you are very daring and bold, but they don't see that there's this sweet, sensitive, careful, a little bit shy Cancer sun that is hidden beneath the surface. That's just an example of one, but that's kind of like the dynamic that goes on. People don't really see this other very important part of yourself. So there's a part of yourself that never really fully feels like it is out there in the world. And you feel like if only people could see this special part of yourself, then they could not only know you better, but they would like you more, because it's just like this, your sun is a really important part of who you are. And it's the part of yourself that you're supposed to be proud of. And those are the things that you feel that you're naturally good at and you excel at. It's the part where you're supposed to shine, and people don't get to see that. So you're just like, if people only knew this about me, they would like me more, or they would see who I really am. So it's like you feel that there's more to you than what people get to see. And I like to use imagery to describe astrology and astrological placements. And the image that really reminds me of a 12th house sun is like, imagine like the depths of the ocean. And you know how it's like really dark because it's very deep. So imagine that there's a really bright sun under there, and you could just kind of see it. Like you could just imagine it, that it's beneath the surface. It's somewhere very deep down in there, and it's very bright, but it's under all of this water. So I like to say that this means that your sun is touched with the Pisces paintbrush, just a little bit. You have a little bit of that Pisces fantasy surrounding your sun. And it makes your sun a little bit more ethereal. Just imagine like clouds or fog around your sun, or imagine that image of the depths of the water and your sun is beneath it. So this is a very sensitive place for the sun, because this is the house of the unconscious. And it's not just your unconscious mind, but it's also the unconscious of like the collective. So the things that a collective goes through and experiences psychologically get stored there. And this, if you think about it as an ocean, is a body of water because it is a water house. Because this water is so deep and it holds so much emotion, remember that water is always holding emotion and psychic energy. So this 12th house is holding all of this like soup of emotion of the collective and your unconscious. And it can get pretty stagnant if you're not moving that water around. So imagine a pond that isn't flowing, or like a swimming pool that isn't maintained. It could get cloudy in there, and it could get like kind of gross and murky. And that is where your sun is sitting. So the sun in the 12th house can get pretty heavy and bogged down and like dense. The water is dense, it's heavy, the sun is there, and it just doesn't feel good. And your sun is your vitality, it's your energy. So you always have to have some time away to kind of move those waters about and kind of lighten the load for your sun, because it's your vitality and your energy, your health. It's in that deep water And it's not doing so hot when it's in there if you're not moving those waters about. And when I say moving those waters about, just like doing psychic work. So working on your psyche, like through meditation or through positive affirmations or through psychotherapy, just things that help you get better in your mental health, that have like, what do they call it? Hygiene, like sleep hygiene, but for your mental health hygiene. Having mental health hygiene is so important if you have a 12th house sun. You have to move those waters around. And another thing that I always have to say about the 12th house sun is that this placement can kind of cause you to bullshit yourself a little bit. And I say this with the utmost love because I have a 12th house sun, so I know how this feels. So it's like, things hurt more when you have your sun in the 12th house, because I said, you know, this is murky water and it's surrounded by just negativity if you don't move the waters about in a positive way. So you're already sitting in this like dark water that can be heavy and burdensome, and it makes you sensitive. So it could cause you to just stay away from people and just be a little bit of a hermit. And even though there's nothing wrong with being on your own and being by yourself away from people, it could become kind of like a crutch. And I have to remind myself of this because it's unrealistic to just be away from people all the time, because we're social beings anyway, and the sun has to shine somehow. That sun needs to shine out of that 12th house. So it's unrealistic to just think, I'm just going to be away from people. We're here. Nobody can hurt me. Nobody can criticize me. And I won't ever feel pain again. It's not true, because you're tapped into the collective anyway. So you kind of have to find a way. Think of the 6th house. You have to find a way of being okay and living your everyday regular life, 6th house words. So doing your daily routines and being okay with being out in the world and not having to be like a hermit in your little hermit hole, okay? So, but where does this hurt come from? Why do things hurt so much when you have your sun in the 12th house? So the sun represents your self-confidence. And while the moon is more your emotional support, your internal emotional support system, and what you believe that your self-worth, all of that, that's your moon. And your sun is what you feel that you can accomplish. It is the more masculine aspect, the more active aspect of that self-confidence. It's your ambition, your individuality, determination. It's your vitality, your spirit, and your dignity. So that's a part of you that's the most Leo in the chart. You know how Leo is bold and they have a lot of self-love and self-confidence? That is the part of you that is supposed to be self-confident and strong. But the sun traditionally represents the father. And when you have the sun in the 12th house, for whatever reason, you have this feeling like you were not nearby your father. You were not close. There's distance. The 12th house is a distant place. So you have your father in the 12th house. And this doesn't necessarily mean that your father necessarily was actually physically away. This could just be emotional distance. Or maybe your father was just really busy with work and just couldn't really be there to support you. And it's like you have like an absent father in the chart. And what is the deal with that? Like, so what's wrong with that? For whatever reason, his presence wasn't felt by you consciously. And what the father is supposed to do, essentially, is build your self-confidence in the things that you can do. And the way that I can explain this very easily is, think of how when kids are small and they're riding a bicycle, think of that image of that father like riding beside you, like walking beside you and supporting you and kind of giving you like a little gentle push when he feels that it's time. Your father's supposed to encourage you to do difficult things and to push you and to be like, hey, you could do that. You could do this. You have the strength to do this. And when you have your sun in the 12th house, it's kind of like you didn't have that for whatever reason. Maybe your father was away. Maybe your father died. Maybe your father was ill. Maybe your father, it could also be associated with drug issues. Maybe your father had issues with substance abuse or mental health issues, or for whatever reason he was away. So you didn't have that support. So it's kind of like you stayed a little bit on training wheels, and you're still on those training wheels as an adult if you haven't taken care of that. So in a sense, you're still careful with the things that you do because you don't feel that you're capable sometimes of doing the things that you really dream of doing, the things that you think are good about yourself, that you're really good at and you want to share with the world, but you're not confident. You can have self-confidence issues because you didn't have that support, that loving support that pushed you to do difficult things, to be yourself and to really challenge yourself. And it's like you have those training wheels, you're always careful, you're not sure yet if you can ride without the support, and you for sure you cannot ride with no hands when you have that sun in the 12th house. So this can cause you to have like a negative self-talk. And remember what I said about that stagnant pool, like how it's a murky lake full of negative thoughts, negative ideas. This is where you store any negative criticism that you might have received growing up, or any negative criticism that you hear in the media or in your family or with your friends. Anywhere that you hear negativity, when you have the sun in the 12th house, you pick it up as if it was for you. Sometimes it's not even for you, but because you're a 12th house sun, and the 12th house is a house of the collective unconscious, it's like storing all of these negative thoughts and ideas that get stored there in that soup, in that ocean of water, right? In that pool of water. And your sun is in there. Your sun is swimming in there. So there can be insecurities about what you think you can accomplish when you have that sun in the 12th house. So how can you take your training wheels off? How can you kind of take that sun out of there and put it more towards the 6th house, towards doing those activities that you want to be doing when you have your sun in the 12th house? So if you want a video for 12th house sun tips, please let me know in the comments so I can know if there's interest for that. So in short, that's a 12th house sun. That's how it feels to have a 12th house sun and what it could potentially mean about your life and your upbringing. So yeah, let me know if you want that video with 12th house sun tips. So what did you guys think? Do you like these shorter videos? I really I'm testing out the possibility of having like more uploads a week, but having them be shorter because I see that you guys prefer watching shorter videos anyway. So I might just shorten my videos and just think, let me know what your 12th house sun feels like. I probably am going to be making another video about the signs in the 12th house. So like all the sun signs in the 12th house. If I see interest in more 12th house videos, I will be more inclined to make them. So let me know in the comments if you like 12th house videos, and let me know what 12th house sun you have in the comments.